Howdy folks, I'm silly, sagacious Skipper, savagely sassing stern snails.
I'm Amber.
And here are more stern snails for us to savagely sass more. I don't know why we're doing it, but I guess we decided to take on the role of Redditor comments. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Walking Out of My Own Birthday Dinner After My Fiancé's Little Surprise? So last night was my 28th birthday. My fiancé, Brian, planned this surprise dinner at a really nice restaurant with my friends and some of my family. I'm not huge on big attention, but I thought that, okay, maybe he's doing something thoughtful for once. Dinner is going fine, food's good, I'm chilling, and then right before dessert, Brian stands up and starts doing this whole speech about how he's proud of me and how he's got me a gift that will change my life. Then he says that he's paid off my student loans. At first I was in shock. I actually teared up, everyone clapped, and my mom was crying. I was about to stand up and hug him, and then he adds that he only paid off half, and that the other half is on me because he wants me to learn how to be financially responsible and not to rely on other people to fix my problems. Like, what? He basically turned my birthday into a public lecture. People were laughing like it was some big cute life lesson. My cousin was like, that's tough love. I just sat there frozen. Then I stood up, I took my purse, and I walked right out. He came running after me and was like, what's wrong? He was trying to be helpful, and he didn't mean to upset me. I told him that he embarrassed me. He used my debt to make a point in front of everyone, and that I wasn't in the mood to be someone's teachable moment. Now, a few people are saying that I overreacted and that he meant well. If you want to help, just help. Don't use it to humiliate me in front of 20 people. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. The way he handled things was very tacky. Like, even if he had paid off the entire student loans, it still kind of feels like he's turning OP's birthday celebration into him.
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's a really big thing and a really kind gesture, but the way he turned it into a lecture, that just feels like not like your partner. It feels like he's like your boss or something, or like your parent, like lecturing you, like, you gotta learn how to manage your finances now.
I mean, unless OP was sitting around at home every single day talking to him about how they wish somebody would just pay off their student loan debt, and then hinting strongly that he do that for them. He has no place, and it wouldn't even be good to do in public, right? Mm-hmm. To reprimand her like that. But he has no place to be like, well, you have to learn how to take care of your own student loans, right? OP was, right? Like, I mean, maybe their parents were helping them or something like that, and he's just trying to be like a jerk about the situation.
It just seems like he's someone who has a lot of money, and he's trying to like do this whole because the reason why you incur student loans is because you go to school and you don't have parents who can pay for you, or giant scholarships. Like, it is very, very common for people to have student loan debt when they graduate and to have it for a while after. And it just seems like a flex, like, I don't have debt. Now you gotta learn to get on my level, OP.
Yeah. So I just think it was really in poor taste. And it was a nice gesture if he hadn't said anything, but the fact is that he made it sound like he paid off her debt entirely, and then he's like, oh, well, by the way, it's only half of the debt. There's a huge difference between paying off all of someone's student loan debt and paying off half of someone's student loan debt. Sure, I'm sure OP would have been grateful, but not under these circumstances.
Right. Again, it just doesn't feel like something a partner does. It feels more like he's lecturing her like she's a child.
Mm-hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Winter Nin says, not the jerk, Brian was though. And OP replies, yep, Brian really fumbled the whole night like it was his job. Brians tend to do that. And Ordinary This 2335 says, not the jerk, he's a giant D-bag. I would have personally felt awkward if this guy started giving a speech of how his gift is going to change my life. Then this? What a jerk. And OP replies, girl, same. The second he started that speech, I already had this weird gut feeling. Like, why is this sounding like a graduation speech and not a birthday toast? Then boom, turns out it was a lesson. Never again. And Professional Ant 7634 says, not the jerk. Imagine using someone's debt as a punchline to a moral lesson at their birthday dinner, then acting surprised when it doesn't go over well. That wasn't a gift, that was a performance. And you were the unwilling protagonist in his personal TED Talk about financial responsibility. Paying off half of your student loan debts just to publicly shame you for the rest. That's not thoughtful, that's manipulative, with the side of control issues. And OP replies, exactly, it didn't feel like a gift, it felt like a setup. Like he was waiting for the applause just so he could hit everyone with his little lesson. I wasn't a person in that moment, I was a prop. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, I found out my husband's present for my birthday and I hate it. Am I the jerk? I know I'm going to sound ungrateful, but I need some advice. I'll be turning 45 in a few weeks, and I casually found out what my husband is going to give me as a present. Well, flashback, when we first started dating, he had a 2-seater BMW that he loved. He had one major accident with it and spent a month in the hospital. He had it repaired and then it was stolen 3 times. It caused a lot of fights and pain between us, and also a huge amount of money. I hated it. When our daughter was first born, he agreed that there was no use in a 2-seater and sold it. The guy who took it only paid for half of it, and then the other half was never paid, hence lawsuit, lawyers, other loss of money, and more hate. But that was almost 20 years ago. Now I found out that he's found the very same BMW and bought it as a present for me. He knows how I feel about this car. It brought a lot of negativity into our lives, and we don't need it, and I don't want to drive it. It's basically for himself. How am I supposed to react when he'll give it to me? Falsely cheerful? I know this car, having it again, makes him happy, but it definitely will make me unhappy. I don't want to disappoint him, but he did disappoint me. I can't help but feel like I'm the jerk. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, you're not the jerk. I mean, what he is doing is clearly very selfish. And I mean, how to approach this, I would just be direct with him. Be like, hey, I found out that you're getting me that car for my birthday and I don't want it.
You know, I think it's important for OP to vet this source and find out whether he really did give OP this car or not, or if this is like a red herring or something. Because this feels like a really bad gift to give someone if you really care about them and know them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's just kind of like putting down like a red herring or false something just so that OP gets worried and thinks that they're getting a car as opposed to like an actual real gift. But if it turns out that OP is actually getting this gift, it is probably for the best if OP confronts their partner and says, I really appreciate that you are getting a car that you really love, but you have to remember that this car isn't for me, it's for you. So please don't give it to me for my birthday, right? So I think that that's the best approach, like what Amber said, direct. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Sesquidophobia82 says, I would be honest. I would tell him that you found out and the reasons why you don't want it. And Zelko Levy says, this is the advice that I would give as well. I think that it's super selfish move by your husband. Not only because he's buying a vehicle that's completely impractical for your family without speaking to you first, but he is completely disregarding your past feelings about an old car. Also, it's almost childlike in its immature transparency. I got you this thing that I've always wanted. Happy birthday. You're not the jerk. And Chica Golez says, I see a divorce in their future because this is exactly the sort of thing that precipitates a split. It's not just that he did this, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. If he's this selfish and thoughtless about her birthday, then he's selfish and thoughtless all the time. This could just jar OP into realizing it. And OP replies, Dear Lord, a divorce over a car? Mind blown. And Do Season 6425 says, I would casually bring up the car in some roundabout way in conversation. Don't let on that you know about the upcoming birthday present. I would say something like this. I absolutely despise that car. I'm so glad that I'll never have to see it again. I get a bad feeling whenever I see one while I'm out and driving. If it's still around, I would probably divorce over it. Thankfully, that car is long gone. Unless your husband is very dumb, he will get the message and hopefully get you a real present, not some toy for him. How do you feel about that approach?
I just feel like, I mean, it's if you can't have an open and honest conversation with your partner, I don't get warm fuzzies about the relationship.
Yeah, I know, but I also kind of like that approach too, in a little bit, because
I mean,
it's like,
I get that, like, if you don't want to confess that you've seen the birthday gift, but like, I don't know. I feel like I understand why someone's saying that, but yeah. So I mean, it's not a terrible one, but I also feel like it's important to be able to communicate.
I feel like it's something you would see in a sitcom.
It is.
Right.
It
I don't think
is.
it's a good way of handling conflict or resolving it, but I think it's classically funny, and if you put a laugh track over it, it would be hilarious.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about sitcoms is they're not real life.
Yeah. And Aridin Sigar says, what's the point though? Her husband already knows how she feels about the car. It's caused a lot of pain and fights between them. I hate the car. There's no way her husband isn't 100% clear about how she feels. He just doesn't care. And OP replies, we haven't talked about the car in a long time. Actually, even though I know how much he loved it, I thought that it was over. We bought other cars, nice ones. I usually joke about how I would love to have a convertible Porsche, but it's clearly a joke. What makes me mad is that he spent a lot of money without confronting me. Our kids are still in college, we both work, and we have no money issues, but spending at least $20,000 is not acceptable. I just want to know how this car that it costs $20,000. It's absurd. How old is this car?
Right.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for making cinnamon bread for my sister-in-law when my mother-in-law is allergic to cinnamon? I'm a 22-year-old female, and I have jumped on the sourdough bread train. I now make bread that we eat instead of buying it. And when I make a loaf of bread, I post a picture of it, and I post it on my story. I've had several people sign up and say that they would love a loaf, including my in-laws. Right now, we are home visiting our family. I brought my starter and baking supplies to make loaves for the people who have asked, while staying at my mom's. For my in-laws, I've made 3 loaves. The sister-in-law, high school age, wanted a cinnamon swirl loaf, so that's what I made for them. My mother-in-law says that she's allergic to cinnamon, so I made her 2 small loaves, regular one, and a cheddar jalapeno. I baked her loaves first to avoid any cross-contamination. And I wrapped up the cinnamon loaf and put it in its own container, separate from the loaves that would go to my mother-in-law. When I dropped them off, I made sure to tell them which loaf was the cinnamon one. Well, today, while we were there, mother-in-law cut herself a slice of the cinnamon bread, saying that she wanted a taste of it. All of us said that she really shouldn't, since she's allergic to cinnamon. She said that she would avoid the cinnamon swirl and just eat the plain bread. After more protest, it was clear that she wasn't going to listen. She ate it and said that it was good and cut herself another slice. After a while, nothing happened. My husband and I assumed that maybe she isn't as allergic as she thought, and everything was fine. We went back to my mom's house, and an hour later, both of our phones started blowing up. My mother-in-law said it gave her horrible diarrhea with my nasty bread, and now claiming that I tried to poison her by giving her them bread that has cinnamon in it. My husband has pressed that I did everything that I needed to do to keep the bread separate, and that eating the cinnamon bread was 100% her choice. She, and now my husband's grandma, are adamant that I shouldn't have brought cinnamon bread into the house at all, and that I should have just told my sister-in-law no. I thought bringing it would be fine. I've been there plenty of times when sister-in-law had cinnamon rolls on the stove, or snickerdoodles in a jar. I assumed that she wouldn't have touched the container because, as far as I had seen, she didn't touch the other stuff. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, it seems like the precedent in the house was to have cinnamon products. You know, it wasn't like mother-in-law was allergic to a degree where she would just die from being in its presence. And also, OP made it very clear not to eat this bread that has cinnamon in it repeatedly. They all told her don't do it. Like, there's only so much you can do to save a grown adult from themselves. And it almost feels more like mother-in-law just wanted a reason to yell at OP and make herself the victim.
Yeah. It's kind of like these people who are like lactose intolerant, and then they'll eat like a tub of ice cream and then be like, I'll just deal with the consequences later or something like that.
That's
right?
exactly what it feels like.
Sure. Like, it's not a good idea, but you can't blame like the ice cream stand, right? You can't go back to the ice cream stand later and say, I'm going to sue you for selling me ice cream. I'm lactose intolerant.
Right, exactly.
Right? You're an adult. You get to make your own adult decisions. If she feels like she's incapable of making adult decisions, then maybe she needs to go into a nursing home.
Well, and also, like, she could have told OP at the door, hey, I'd rather you don't bring that into my house, But she just let it come in and was like, I'm going to eat not 1, but 2 slices of the cinnamon bread.
It's just like staring people dead in the eye while she just takes a bite, like OP staring her dead in the eyes.
Well, that's exactly
Look, you're killing me. I can't believe you're killing me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds more like an intolerance than an allergy.
Yeah,
If she just had a little, like, not that it's fun to have, like, upset stomach. Like, that is really uncomfortable, but also it doesn't sound like she was deathly allergic. So luckily she's not dying from this, but...
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to let my husband completely take over naming our babies, even though I get to give birth to them? I'm a 22-year-old female and my husband is a 24-year-old male, and we are pregnant with twins, a girl and a boy, and we couldn't be more excited about it. So naturally, we've been discussing baby names, and I like a lot of the girls' names, and I had a list of baby names since I was a teenager that I've been really excited to share with him. But now my husband says that he should get to name both of our babies because I get to give birth to them. He wants to name our babies Shane and Courtney after his favorite YouTubers or something like that. I looked them up and apparently they're a married couple, so it kind of makes me uncomfortable to name our twins after them. I tried to explain that I want to have input on the babies' names, but he refuses and says it's his right. My family and friends are on his side, saying that it's the dad's role to name the babies. And I'm starting to worry that I'm the only person being crazy and controlling. So am I the jerk to refuse to let my husband name our babies after some YouTubers? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, you are not the jerk, and get new family and friends. Like, names is a 2 yes, 1 no type of situation. End of story. But also the audacity of this man. Well, you get to give birth to them. Like, OP is going through months of pain and suffering to bring these kids into the world. It's not like this is some grand cakewalk, you know. And he's already probably giving them his last name, I imagine. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if it's like most married couples, they usually have the husband's last name. So, like, he's already given them part of his name. He should not get to dictate everything about this.
Yeah, this feels cultural. I'm wondering if their OP is from a different culture and his family is from a different culture, and they have different expectations about how to name children. I think that if OP and their husband want to, that couples therapy might be a really good idea here so that they can kind of work out these differences. These kind of differences probably should have been worked out before they decided to start having children, but I mean, it's a little late now.
Right. Well, I mean, OP might not have expected him to go to this like, if you have very specific requirements, like I must give the names, it's on you to communicate that to your partner beforehand.
Yeah. And OP, they should talk to their family so that their family can kind of help them understand this too. Like their mother, be like, is this, what would you do, mom, in my situation here, right? But I think that OP isn't unreasonable at all. I think that this is just not healthy for him to make these kinds of demands.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you said, names are a 2 yes, 1 no type of situation. If you don't like the names and are uncomfortable with them, you get to give your veto on that.
Right. And I would, when you do give birth, make it very clear to the hospital staff that he is not to sign off on the birth certificate without you being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure he can't like slip in the name and be like, oh, I accidentally named them after these people.
Yeah. So that's a really good sound advice. I think that OP might want to have someone else there with them instead of their husband, especially if he is going to try pulling something like that.
I mean, I guess you could always tell him that if he keeps pushing this, then you'll divorce him and go back to your maiden name and give the kids your last name.
Well, I mean, certainly that would probably be like at a certain point, like if the relationship devolves into that, then it devolves into that. So, I mean, I wouldn't blame OP there.
I'm just saying, like, if he absolutely refuses to budge and keeps saying it is my right, like, at that point in time, like, what are you going to do? Like, what else is he going to trample on you for with these kids? Like, I just don't see a good situation if he's, like, the one who has to always call the shots.
Yeah, my only concern is that he might just stay quiet and then pull something like what you were saying before. So, like, oh, he'll pretend like he's okay with it, but then he'll just, be sneaky or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would make sure hospital staff know no matter what
Yeah.
that he is not to name them alone.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What might you call a dinosaur that loves dropping rhymes?
Oh, I would call it a Raposaurus Rex.
A Velociraptor.
Oh, a Velociraptor. Yeah.
And today is National Velociraptor Awareness Day.
Yes. So you are hopefully very aware of raptors, and hopefully also not on an island called Jurassic Park where they are thriving and apparently hunt in packs. So, I would be concerned if I were you in that position. But everyone else, just make sure you know that they once existed and hopefully aren't going to be brought back to life by mad science. And they're also like the size of chickens, so you don't really have to worry about them tearing you apart like the ones in the movie. I don't think they're really that big.
I don't know.
And I have Earl Grey.
But I mean, some birds can be vicious, so you never know.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't be vicious. Let's see. How big are Velociraptors? Yeah, they're about 6 feet long and 2 to 3 feet tall. So, I mean, I was off a little tiny bit. They're not like chicken size. They're like dog size. They'll probably still eat you.
Yeah.
They have sharp teeth and sharp claws. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Fantastic Friday, folks. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on gifts, guilt, or control.
If you intentionally eat something you are allergic to, you cannot blame other people for that decision.
Exactly. Unless it was a alien mind parasite that made you make that decision.
I mean, but then it's still like not the person's fault, it's the alien mind parasite's fault.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
an alien mind parasite also made you make the cinnamon bread.
Oh, okay.
So, not
Yeah, you
so
can
good.
blame the alien mind parasite.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.